Hi guys, I hope you're well. I'm sitting in my kitchen with my earphones on. The house is quite noisy, so hopefully you won't be able to hear a lot of background noise. Um, I've got my notes here because what I want to say is really relevant. I love to use the conversations that I have with my slimmers because it's real life conversations and turn them into a discussion point for here, because obviously, this plan is all about, real life people, and these are real life situations that come up. So I want to obviously do it justice and have my notes. So my eyes will revert down here, just to let you know. I'm not professional, and I definitely do not have the brain capacity to remember everything that I want to say. I'll also add, which I'm really sorry, I have a bit of a sore throat, so I will be taking regular sips of my pink lemonade water, just because I am coughing quite a lot. So one of the conversations that I was having with my lovely slimmer is, and hopefully this, or not hopefully, but I'm sure it's something that maybe you have heard of or that you've had experience yourself. And when you're on a weight loss journey and you're especially close to goal, something you might experience is self-sabotage. I think it's safe to say that we've pretty much all been there or have witnessed someone else doing it. And what it looks like in real life terms is that for the most part, a lot of people, or you would have lost the vast majority of your weight. So you start plan, you get in the momentum, you're excited, you're disciplined, you're motivated, you're seeing all the results, all the hard work is paying off, and you feel really hyped and you're doing really, really well. And then the nearer you get to your weight loss goal, it starts to slow down, because you have less to lose, which is, it's maths. So we allow things to start creeping in, and maybe it's, start to have a biscuit with a cup of tea, or maybe it's having, not really being mindful of our portion sizes, or maybe it's just having a cheeky little chocolate bar at the end of the evening, whatever your vice is. And then all of a sudden we start to see that progress really slow, and it could be half a pound off, in a week, or maybe it's a maintain. And we convince ourselves, oh, but I've done so well. And for a while, we can wing it to a certain extent. And then what will happen if we keep up with that pattern? It will start to have a detrimental effect to our journey. So what was half a pound loss or a maintain, if we continue on that same trajectory using those same type of snacks, it's inevitable that we will put weight on. But for the first few weeks, month or so, we'll just think, hey, this is great. I'm maintaining. I've let my standards slip, but it's okay. I'm all right. We're doing fine. And it is totally normal. Someone coined the phrase diva fever, because it's like, oh, it's fine. I've done so well so far. I know exactly how to lose weight. It doesn't matter. I know what I'm doing. I could just jump back on plan tomorrow, next week, and it will all be fine. And it doesn't mean that you failed. It's a normal cycle, and it does happen. But what we want to do is really nip it in the bud before it escalates into something that could really, undo all of your amazing progress. So this is where and I talk a lot about motivation, about how, we might use it at the beginning, but what we really need to rely on at the end of the journey is more about discipline. It's that discipline. It's that turning up, because we know it's the mundane, it's the unseen things that we need to do. The boring stuff. We know that those are the things that are going to give us the results that we want, and we need reminding of that, especially when we want to feel, we're excited to, unleash our new energy and, have a, more body confidence, and, all of that stuff is really exciting, and we want to share it and show it with the world, and we feel like, that we have been on such a disciplined journey that we do want to, break away a little bit. And of course, that's absolutely fine, or at least start your maintenance journey. But a lot of people get to this point where they're almost there and not quite, and things start to unravel. And one of my favourite sayings is that we haven't come this far to come this far. And when I speak to my clients about, you know, the honest truth as to where we are right now, and I was like, right, okay, if you want to call it and say this is your goal weight, and congratulations, you've reached your goal weight, brilliant. And then 9 times out of 10, they'll say, no, this isn't my goal weight. This isn't what, you know, this is what I want. And that's what I want to achieve. I go, right, okay, then, you know, we need to get back on to that disciplined, that real focused mindset and get the job done. So, you know, how do we go about doing that? And it's about, my notes here, it's about what do we do next. And what we want to do is we want to draw a line under it. And, you know, I was talking to my client today, and she was saying that, you know, the packet of crisps is her go-to, and it's the thing that she uses for boredom or whatever. So like, right, what can you do? This is about being really mindful and aware of the decisions and the choices that you make. So we talked about things that she could do instead, and she's got a team meeting tonight, so she knows that she's going to be distracted, she's going to be busy, so she probably won't be having crisps then. She also mentioned that she needs to paint her nails. She's got like a little gel kit at home, so, you know, one night she'll be, you know, painting her nails. Having a bath. It's very difficult to eat crisps with soggy fingers, so having a bath. And, you know, like, we joke about it, but it is using all these tools, and it's just getting through that last hurdle. For her in particular, this is about, you know, the last month before she steps up, and we start then, you know, re-establishing that relationship with food, integrating different food groups, you know, portion sizes, all of that stuff. But for the most part, she needs to go back to what she was doing at the very beginning. So, you know, I was saying to her, you know, bring your family back on board, get them to call you out. You know, Mum, what are you doing? You said you this month was really important. You know, husband to kind of like call her out, really involve the family, and get behind her in this last push to kind of get to where she wants to do. And it is about having that awareness and owning it and thinking, you know what, I know I haven't been as disciplined, and I have let things slip, and this is where I'm at. And we've been dancing around this last stone for about 2.5 months, and the reality is, with her head down, fully engaged and in the zone, on average you're losing around a stone a month. So, you know, we kind of want to be at the very end, or, you know, starting our maintenance in 4 weeks time, and with those tightening up of those habits, you know, making sure that we're on our water, thinking about how we feel when we're on that journey, are all things that we can use to help motivate us, which will then obviously, you know, discipline. So when you're on your journey, I'm so sorry if you can hear my sons, it's thinking about how close you are and whether you are feeling that this is where you want to be. And if this is okay for you, that's absolutely fine. But if you know that you are on that last push and you really want to see it through to the finish line, then these are the things that you're going to have to do in order to get there. And that is to reset. It is, you know, taking this last bit seriously. This isn't a, oh, well, you know, I've done so well. And I know, you know, I totally understand when you feel good and you want to unleash your energy and you're really excited and, you know, you look good and you feel good and all of those things, you don't want to bottle it up and you just want to break free, and that's everything that will happen. But right now you still have a job to do, so it's making sure that we don't unravel all of that hard work, we don't go down that self-sabotage of that diva fever of like, it's okay, I know what I'm doing, I can jump back on it, and then all of a sudden you've got, you know, half a stone away or half a stone further away from where you want to be. So yeah, I just hope that helps. Is there anything else? No. It's common, lots of people do it. It's just recognizing it and understanding what the habits are, where they come in, and what you can do to eliminate them. And just by talking about it and having a laugh about, oh, you know, is the packet of crisps really going to eliminate your boredom? And I said to her, if you feel like you're going for a packet of crisps, text me, send me a WhatsApp, and as soon as you have got that and you've shared that notion, that thought with someone else, it pretty much stops you, because you just think, oh God, I sound a bit silly. I'm just getting off the sofa to get a packet of crisps. For what reason? I'm not hungry. I'm just bored. You know, I'm going to, you know, having that accountability and that awareness can sometimes in itself, just by texting someone, they're going to turn around and go, well, what are you doing that for? We had a bit of a giggle about that. So if you would like any more information about the one-to-one diet, about how I can support you on your journey, please do feel free to drop me a message. I would really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. It really helps the channel and, you know, get my content out there. But yeah, really looking forward to helping more people in 2026.